Oh, hello there. Don't be alarmed. We're just preparing your listening device for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving. We do this, of course, by filling the radio with water. Don't worry, we're professionals. Thanks to me, you won't even get wet. You see, I've crammed every appendage of my body into the cracks and crevices of your radio, ensuring an airtight seal. By the way, don't touch your on-off knob. That's a very sensitive area. Anyway, I should remind you, we believe in the buddy system just like diving, so don't listen alone. Call your buddy and tell them that Scuba Radio is about to begin.
We're gonna start a new life under the sea.
So, am I gonna drown?
Of course not. Just stay calm and let the gentle currents relax your every muscle.
Under the sea, under the sea.
Did it just get warmer?
There'll be no accusations, just friendly crustaceans under the sea.
Where the hell are the sharks?
And now, here's your dive guide for Scuba Radio, Greg the Dive Master.
And welcome. This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. CJ is in the studio with me. And he's right here, I swear.
Craig, how the hell are you?
It's Greg the Dive Master
Greg,
with a
right.
G.
Sorry.
26 years, and eventually,
Greg with the G, two G's.
now we know.
There's two
Now we know. And then we connected via the web. We have Barry the Bugger, and we also have Jerry the Diver Guy.
Hey, Jerry, the diver guy!
Yeah, he's here. He's on the road, though. He's driving. I don't know. Where you go off to there, Jerry? What's going on?
I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia.
And the answer to that question is, well, or I should say the question.
Okay,
Is
now
why.
ask him where he is. Maybe he'll answer.
Maybe that's what it is.
I'm in Charlottesville, Virginia. That's where I'm at.
But why?
That's where
Why
I'm
are you
going.
there? What are you doing? What's going
I'm
on?
going up to see two Scuba Radio fans.
He's going up to
Chris
see.
and Kathleen Finley.
Oh, really? You're gonna.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I mean, you're trying to scare them away from going to the Beneath the Sea dive show next week by
Well,
going up
yeah,
there and
yeah.
visiting them in person, and like, this is what you're going to be missing if you come out to Jersey next week. Is that what are you doing exactly with them? Or can we not? I guess we can't say.
To catch a predator.
He's having issues with his.
Just in the nick of
connection.
time, he's being
Yeah.
censored. He's going into the dead zone.
Hey, look,
Yeah. What?
it's a dead zone in the mountains no matter what.
Uh-huh. Right. So what are you doing with Chris and his wife? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm going up to Dive Connections and meeting them there, and then we'll probably go out to have dinner.
Okay. All right. So he's just getting together with some of his diver friends. We're going to see Chris and his wife up there at Beneath the Sea, I believe, next weekend. That's the big dive show. That'll be the
They will
Dive
be
Center
there.
of the Universe. Beneaththesea.us is the website to go to. If you're in that part of the country of the United States, go there. Make sure you show up 9 a.m. Next Saturday is the big show. First time in 3 years. I'm very much looking forward to it. It's going to be a good time. Jerry, we don't know that Jerry's going to make it. We don't know because you're getting some minor surgery this week, so it's kind of you're up in the
Yeah,
air. Is that the
Tuesday.
deal?
Tuesday evening, I will know for sure if I will be there or not.
Right. He's having an implant put in.
I don't
I'm
want to
having
know.
an AI implant.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever you want to call your little buddy is fine with us. But yeah, depending on how the surgery goes, we'll determine whether Jerry the Diver Guy is up there in the flesh.
So
but,
if you don't see him, something's gone horribly wrong.
or right, depending on how you look at it, right?
Depending on how you look at it, yeah.
Right. All right. Well, yesterday was St. Patrick's Day. So I figured it was a good day to kind of step back and reflect a little bit on our diving experiences. Because St. Patrick's Day is a day of
Reckoning.
Is it?
No.
It depends. It depends on how much you drink, I guess.
Revenge. No.
Retching, day of retching.
A day of retching.
Okay, something like that.
It's a day of running the snakes away, Greg.
Okay.
We're not talking about the
Well,
actual.
We're not talking about your love life.
St. Patrick's Day is.
Okay.
That's what St. Patrick's Day is. St. Patrick run all the snakes out of Ireland.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, okay. Thanks for that history lesson. See, Jerry the diver guy
You're more than welcome.
trying to make us a little bit more informed on things we already
All
knew.
that
But
AI knowledge coming out.
okay, all right, if you say so. But regardless, it is a day where you're supposed to be kind of lucky, wearing green and all that kind of good stuff. So I figure, hey, what's the luckiest thing that you've ever had happen to you on a scuba dive? I figured this would be a good day to reflect on such thoughts. And because, there's been a huge amount for me. I am more blessed in so many ways, and I probably got a few I could share. But I want to give the Scuba Radio Scuba Squad an option or the opportunity to share.
To mouth off.
Well, yeah, brag a little bit, maybe whatever. But, people listening might think like, hey, that's pretty cool. I'm going to have to add that one to my list. So it's one of those type of things that you can hear the luckiest things that have happened to us underwater, and it could be you next time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Barry the bugger. His name says it all. I would assume his luckiest dive entails lobster because he's Barry the bugger.
You would assume wrong.
What? Really?
No. The luckiest thing or the best find I've ever had on the dive?
Well, it's a little bit. I mean, you feel fortunate that you experienced it on a scuba dive.
Well, not just experienced it. It was diving a wreck, and we were some of the first in there. And when I hit the deck, I found a really beautiful gold chain.
Really?
Yeah, and I gave that to my wife, and that's what allowed me to continue scuba diving. That's right.
So wait, how many years ago? This was quite a while ago then.
This was quite a while ago. So I'm due to find some more doubloons or more gold.
Okay, we'll back up a little bit here. So this was a gold chain. Was it like, are we talking real life pirate treasure stuff or something that somebody fell off another diver's
It fell off
neck?
Probably I think a fisherman's. I don't think a diver would have worn this. This was really heavy.
Well, why? What did it look like?
But a gold chain, but a heavy gold chain.
A heavy gold chain. So you gave it to your wife like
we priced it out. You could have bought a whole kit of gear with it.
Really? It was that it was that valuable, huh?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you feel guilty at all that maybe you should turn it into authorities?
No, finders keepers.
Oh wow. Where was this exactly?
It was on a ship. One of the wrecks out in Fort Lauderdale.
In Fort Lauderdale.
Was a long time.
He doesn't want to say.
No, I've forgotten which wreck it was.
So this is probably you're talking about what, 30, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, sure.
Well, yeah, about that. And what wreck was it?
I don't remember.
You don't remember, but it was a wreck off of Fort Lauderdale.
It was a wreck off of Fort Lauderdale, and I would assume a lot of fishermen also fish off those wrecks.
Right.
So it was probably someone that was working the boat, maybe pulling a fish in, and he had his chain kind of.
Yeah. Was there anything else on the chain identifying mark?
It was just
chain.
A gold chain, just the chain, and it wasn't broken.
Yeah.
So it didn't snap off someone's neck, but
Barry, did you kill someone?
Well,
he couldn't kill anybody.
The water is deep out there.
The Titanic.
he robbed them, and then
there are some areas up in, I think, where's it, Palm Beach or area where they have shipwrecks out there.
Yeah,
I mean old shipwrecks where they do find gold sometimes.
Well, it could happen. No, I don't doubt it. And it is ironic that I happened to lose a gold chain years ago when I first learned to dive.
30 years ago, huh? It's been I've been diving less than 30 years, I think.
No, that's not true. You're way older. Admit
well,
it.
I may be older. It doesn't mean I was diving.
Okay. So what is your point? I've been diving as long as you. Same.
Stop bragging about your lack of experience.
You've been diving longer than me. So when you lost your chain while you were diving, it had nothing to do with the chain I found because that chain was fresh on the deck.
Is it well, I'm just yanking your chain.
Just because it had the initials GH on it.
Yeah, right.
Coincidence.
Exactly. Purely coincidental. Okay. Look, what's the luckiest thing you've done on a dive? We'll talk about it next. Stay close to the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Bula, You'll hear that a lot when you visit Fiji. It's more than a greeting. It's the spirit of this friendly country. With 333 islands, white sand beaches, and year-round tropical warmth, it's hard not to feel happy at this exceptional dive destination known as the soft coral capital of the world. Fiji Airways has a modern fleet of aircraft to take you to Fiji in style and at great prices. Contact your travel agent now or go to FijiAirways.com and plan your Fijian dive adventure. That's FijiAirways.com.
Come as a guest, leave as a friend. It's a philosophy that comes from the top down at Explorer Ventures liveaboards. It doesn't matter if you're traveling solo with a buddy or group. Explorer Ventures does the liveaboard dive experience right. For proof, know Explorer Ventures has one of the best repeat customer stats in the dive industry. They're also the official liveaboard company of Scuba Radio. You've likely heard us talk about Explorer Ventures Scuba Radio scuba cruise trips many times, and we invite you to join us on the next one. However, whether we're on board with you or not, I'll bet an Explorer Ventures liveaboard trip will be one of the best dive experiences you've ever had. It just doesn't get any better. Saba St. Kitts, Turks and Caicos, the Galapagos, Maldives, Indonesia, humpback whales, and the Silver Banks, new destinations and itineraries are being added all the time. Call one of their talented travel consultants to find the Explorer Ventures liveaboard experience that's just right for you. 1-800-322-3577. That's 1-800-322-3577. Or visit explorerventures.com. That's explorerventures.com.
Hey, baby, what's going down?
Later, nerd.
Are you lacking with the ladies?
Nope.
Enhance your scuba superpowers with a new Scuba Radio hat.
Wow, nice hat.
Just picked it up at ScubaRadio.com.
Buy 2 Scuba Radio hats and get free shipping.
Need a dive buddy, sexy?
Always. And I got a Scuba Radio hat for you, too.
New Scuba Radio hats are now available at ScubaRadio.com.
So cool.
Order yours today, or stay a loser.
Scuba Radio. Scuba Radio.
Prepare to rig for dive! Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
Hello, this is Koji. I'm a diver, originally from the land of the rising sun, but now America my home. You are listening to Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Run! It's Godzilla!
Now here is someone considered by many to be the Godzilla of diving. Greg the Dive Master, coming Tokyo!
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. I wonder what Koji would say, other than come in Tokyo, when it came to what is his luckiest thing he's seen underwater on a scuba dive. He's a big lobster guy, so I would have a feeling it might have to do with, seeing a Godzilla-sized lobster. That's just a guess.
That's a good guess.
Yeah, I think he probably that would be at his list. Now that is one of mine. St. Patrick's Day yesterday, we're asking what's the luckiest thing you've seen underwater. I would have to put right up there for me was the time I was diving with Barry the Bugger, and we were on his boat, and we actually witnessed a lobster walk right there off of the beach in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, Barry.
And it wasn't a little lobster walk. I've never seen you carry such a big bag back to the boat.
Right.
And trying to haul it over the gunnel was amazing.
It was a massive amount of lobster. Mm-hmm. And they weren't actually walking when I saw them underwater. They were bunched together, probably about 3 or 4 deep. They were kind of like, it was like an underwater lobster rave. And I just looked at them and I'm like, okay, I'll take this one. I'll take that one. I'll take this one. I'll take that one. And
like shopping.
Yeah. And next thing you know, my bag was filled to the brim.
They weren't even trying to get away from you.
Not
you were
really.
Just grabbing them with your hands.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You pretty much take your pick.
Dive God style.
Right.
Well, you were with. I think then you were diving with James that day.
That's right. Bubble Boy was with us, and he was down there too. So we, and I was holding the bag for both of us. So we were able to get 12 apiece. So we had 24 lobster that we came back up to the surface with to Barry's boat. And
I'm so pissed off I missed that trip.
that was
I
a
couldn't go.
magical dive, no doubt.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to replicate it since, and that's why I feel I was so lucky just
That
to
is
even
lucky.
see it, let alone catch that mini lobster. So that was one. I've got a bunch more. CJ, what do you think? Do you got one?
Yeah, I've got several. I could say the hammerhead dive in Bimini. I could say the reef shark dive in Bimini.
Yeah.
I could say a lot of cool stuff from Fiji, but I was kind of expecting that, so it didn't have a feeling of surprise or luck.
Okay.
But the one that comes to mind as being the luckiest, and you were on this dive, Barry may have been with us too. I can't remember.
Yeah.
We were diving in Fort Lauderdale,
Mm-hmm.
and we got visited by a pod of dolphins. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That
was
super cool.
That was on a lobster dive. I think it was the second dive of the day or something. It was towards the end of the dive, and we happened to swim by I don't know, it's about 4 or 5
They
dolphins.
came to visit us.
Yeah, they swam right by, and we're like, whoa, look at that. A pod of dolphins swimming right by us, checking us out.
Yeah, that was really cool.
That was something.
That was very lucky, I thought.
And actually, on that dive, too, we had kind of run out of finding lobster, if I remember. We didn't see many lobster on that second dive, and I was kind of getting bored, and I'm like, well, what are you going to do? We just kind of cruise along, and then all of a sudden, hey, look, there's Flipper.
Yep,
How
that
about
was cool.
that?
So that's probably my luckiest.
Okay, so dolphins,
I've never found any gold necklaces.
right? Not even a pearl necklace. Moving on, Jerry the diver guy is in the car, but I'm sure he's had a lucky dive or two in his diving career. Jerry, can you share? What do you think?
Well, look, any dive with you and CJ's always been the luckiest dive
Well,
that
duh.
I've come back from.
Well, okay. Oh, wait a minute. He just hold on. He just flipped that on us, didn't he? He just said, "Is the luckiest dive that he survived." That me and him. What?
I was going to bust him on that,
exactly
but
right.
I didn't.
Oh boy, that is inappropriate. And
You mean
Why
like a-
would you want to bust me on that?
Like, are you talking about a certain dive where you took off from the flag and then we had to go find you?
Oh,
Koji had
Jerry
to
the
find
diver.
you?
Jerry the diver guy went rogue. Yeah.
I was getting lobster and you all left me
No.
in jealousy.
Yeah.
You
that
left
I
us.
was catching lobster and you all wasn't.
I had the flag.
Yeah, say whatever you want. But look,
Well, the truth.
I got Chris and Kathleen now.
Yeah. Hey, Chris. Hey, Kathleen. How you doing? So,
He
all
said,
right.
"How y'all doing?" He said, "Suck." They said, "Suck it, losers."
What?
No, they
What?
didn't.
That is.
They said, "Suck it, losers."
I don't think
No,
that
they
is.
didn't. We
I
can
don't
see
think
them.
that's.
We can see them and hear them.
yeah.
He's trying to tell us what they said, but they're right there.
Right. I just
Greg
don't.
the dive master has it right. Suck it, losers.
Yeah, I say that. I say
Hey,
that. All right. So
Every
yeah.
dive is a lucky dive. But anyway, thank you all. Anything y'all need, let me know. Bye.
What do you mean bye?
All
You
right, he's
leaving
outta
us?
here.
Yeah,
That's
he's
it?
out
You're-
of there.
I'm leaving y'all.
All right.
That is
I'm
lucky.
going with the real people now.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Go have fun.
We're still lucky.
Right. We win in this whole
Y'all
scenario.
just lucky to be with me anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Just sign off. You're done.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Oh, Jerry the diver guy. Yeah. You
Now
know,
it's just a squad of one.
well, we got.
This may have been the smallest scuba squad ever.
No. Casey the tobacco nut is standing by.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
All right.
and
didn't see
I
it.
think we got Mermaid Kristen joining us. We got our Ninja Warrior is going to join us a little later on. Even the Aqua Gypsy is threatening to join us on the show today because they all want to share their luckiest dives. It's kind of a thing. So yeah, but I don't know what Jared was trying to say that was a lucky dive.
He had
that was a
nothing.
terrible dive.
He had nothing. So
That whole dive, he we were doing a 3-man a dive team hunting for lobsters once again, and Jerry got the lobster fever, and he didn't pay
I had
attention.
the flag in the bag, and you were just like cranking them, man. You were
Right,
finding-
I
you-
was
you
I
found
was
a hole,
tickling them and
you found a
looping
hole,
them.
and you were putting them in the bag, and we're like, all right, we're cleaning up. I look over,
Where's
Jerry's
Jerry?
gone. I
He's
said,
nowhere to be
"Damn it."
seen. Visibility was maybe like 20, 30
So
feet.
we
if
did
that.
look around a little bit,
And
Didn't
what you do,
find
you
him.
look around, you go to the surface, and then we're like, where is he?
Popped up to
Koji.
give Koji the lobster bag and look for Jerry. And
Yeah.
Koji thought he saw Jerry's bubbles. So
It's like, you don't know where he is? I said, no.
he
Where
was
the hell did he
way
go?
away from us.
Yeah, he was.
And out of air.
He was low on air. He finally popped to the surface. We were a little annoyed because we could have got more lobster if we wouldn't have came up, and was trying to find him. And then he tried to turn it and say it was our fault. We're like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
CJ has the flag.
He's full of
the guy
crap.
with the flag has never lost.
Correct.
If you lose the person with the flag, you're the one lost.
Funny. Greg stayed with me.
That's right. Because I stay with the person who has the flag. That's how you're supposed to do it. And
We
Jerry.
just parked that flag right next to the lobster hole.
Yeah. So I don't know how that was lucky for Jerry, because he didn't really catch many either, by the way. All right, more coming up. Stay close.
Scuba Radio. Scuba Radio.
Power, simplicity, reliability. It's what you demand of your dive computer. And Shearwater delivers. Shearwater evolved out of one tech diver's need for a reliable, easy-to-use rebreather dive computer and quickly became the tech market leader. Now recreational divers have taken notice. The Shearwater Peregrine is a simple, full-color, multi-gas dive computer. It's also the most economical Shearwater dive computer released to date. Check it out and the entire line at shearwater.com. Shearwater, dive computers for demanding divers.
Do you have a message or a product that you'd like to share with the diving world? Well, look no further than Scuba Radio. Just like you, thousands of diving enthusiasts are hearing this message, and we could be talking about you and your product or service as early as next Saturday. Remember, a terrible thing happens when you don't advertise. Nothing. Go to ScubaRadio.com, send us an email, and let's get to work to make your marketing message matter.
Radio. Scuba Radio.
Prepare to rig for dive! Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
This is better than porn. It's like porn and Shark Week combined.
He's got no legs to kick it with, and he's got no arms to swim with. But nonetheless, he is a scuba diver man, and he's doing the best he can. Scuba diver man, doing the best he can. Scuba diver man, scuba diver man, scuba diver man, scuba diver man, scuba diver man.
His brain ain't right, but it's fun.
Okay. This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master, CJ, in the studio with me, Barry the Bugger. Also, Casey the Tobacco Nut is with us. It's a day after St. Patrick's Day, so we're asking what's the luckiest thing you've seen underwater. Let's see, the Aqua Gypsy is going to join us later on to share. Maybe even Mermaid Kristen. Yeah, she might be here too. So we got a bunch of and Mermaid Rachel too.
Oh, I like mermaids.
Okay, so you're in luck. You're in the right place. I mean, seeing a mermaid underwater is kind of lucky, I'd say. And a lot of times when we travel on our liveaboard trips with Explorer Ventures or out and about at the Beneath the Sea Dive Show next weekend, we will probably have a mermaid on display for your picture-taking pleasure.
Greg?
Yes, Barry.
You need to speak with an inside voice now.
Excuse me. Could you tone it down a little bit?
What are you talking about?
Oh, I like mermaids.
It's way too loud.
Okay.
What was
way
yesterday?
too loud for this early in the morning.
Right. Someone's a little hungover. Had a few too many green beers.
He still looks a little green around the gills.
Maybe.
I saluted my honorary saint.
You did, huh?
Many times.
So you went to the throne and made a deposit, the whole thing, in his honor?
No, I don't do that. I'm a well-trained, experienced supporter of my political goals. Yes.
Okay, I don't even know what that's rambling supposed to mean. But anyway, it's Casey the Tobacco Nut. And
Hey,
I
guys.
would imagine you've been pretty lucky over the years when it comes to all your scuba diving that you've done.
Yes.
Does one stand out, Casey? Like where you're out and about and you had one of the luckiest things happen to you while you're underwater. What was it?
I was diving in the Sea of Cortez, in the Baja,
Yeah.
and I was in about 20 feet of water, 30 feet of water, drifting along when suddenly I was in the middle of a bait ball. I was surrounded by these minnows or sardines or whatever they were, and then the bait ball was consumed by a school of tuna. So I was in the middle of this bait ball when these huge tuna were swimming through it,
Yeah.
slaughtering these, I don't know what they were, sardines, we'll say.
Hmm.
And the experience was just surreal because as fast as it started, it stopped, and the ocean was just clear again.
Really?
I don't
so
know
you
where
just
they went.
you just
I don't know what
drifted
happened.
into a bait ball.
Yes.
Interesting.
Or it formed around me. I don't know, because
Well-
I'm kind of shaped like a bait ball.
Well, I mean, the only reason like a bait ball would form around you is if you had something coming out of an orifice that they were feasting on.
An orifice.
That could be an underwater puking episode. It could be an underwater,
I was wearing short shorts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're close to Mexico, and you probably had a little built up in the whole digestive tract area. And
I had a few tequilas with lime.
okay. But were you nervous at all? Because I don't know that I'd want to be in the middle of a bait ball like that.
No, it actually, once I was in, I didn't realize it was a bait ball. I thought, well, this is weird. I'm just in this really huge packed school of sardines, we'll say.
Right.
And I was just kind of looking around when all of a sudden this huge, I don't know, 10, 15, 20-pound tuna goes zooming past my head.
Mm-hmm.
And then the slaughter began. I mean, there were little pieces of sardines drifting past me, and fish were zooming around everywhere.
Wow.
And then it was just like over. They all moved on.
Interesting.
Was it a bloodbath?
Not so much blood, but it rained scales.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
They call that fast food.
I would. I don't know. I mean, having the tuna is one thing, but right behind the tuna, there's probably going to be some other bigger animals.
Maybe,
right below.
But at the time they were there when it formed up and it happened, it was just this massive school of tuna.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen plenty of video of bait balls, and it is an impressive sight, and an honor to be able to witness that while you're underwater. I can imagine for sure. And I don't know if I've seen a bait ball. I've been surrounded by schools of fish, like barracuda, and literally had them school around me. Which was, I mean, literally just thousands and thousands of them, and just going, whoa, this is wild. I feel a little uneasy, but they didn't have any interest in me whatsoever. But a bait ball is a different ball game. I wouldn't be worried about the sardines, but I might question what else is in the ocean going after them.
Big
other
ass
than
whale.
these tuna.
I didn't really have time to even think about it, Greg. It happened within a matter of, I would say, a minute.
Yeah. Okay.
A big ass whale.
Big ass whale could be feeding on them too.
Ooh, that could have been interesting.
Yeah, you could have been like Jonah.
Was
You could
any of
have
the tunas have glasses on? And did you hear, sorry, Charlie?
Ba-dum-bum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to determine if he was dreaming or not.
Oh, I'm not
Come on.
sure.
There's
Cue
something
it up.
seriously wrong with you
So
people.
Yeah, well, that's
so
true.
I
Yeah.
describe my magical moment underwater.
You're right.
And you
Luckiest.
immediately assume I'm hallucinating.
Well, no, I didn't say
Not
it was
immediately. It took me a couple minutes.
Right.
to Formulate
okay.
that theory.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Okay. So I don't, that would be pretty lucky to see a bait ball. I'd love to
That would
see
be-
that.
That would be.
I don't know
trippy.
that I just like I said I just don't know if I'd want to be in the middle of it. I'd rather
Hey, nothing you could
watch it
do,
from the
man.
outside.
I mean, if you're floating by, and I don't know if you could necessarily kick out of it too easily.
Yeah, well,
depending on how big it was.
Well, how big was it? Obviously bigger than you, Casey.
Yeah, obviously bigger than me. I mean,
Yeah.
how
So
big
you
it
figure-
was. I wasn't on the outside looking in. I was on the inside looking out. Hard to measure.
So it just kind of swam off and and they just disappeared.
Yeah, they attacked it and they were tearing them up, and next thing I know, I was in clear water again.
Yeah, Casey the tobacco nut is missing a nut now.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, moving on.
Now, if that was Jerry in that bait ball, you would have heard, "What the hell?"
Okay, is that what you would have heard under?
What the hell?
All right, interesting.
Who's drunk?
Yeah, you really think that's what we'd hear?
Yeah.
Okay, if you say so. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Hey, Jerry, the timer time.
Yeah, I mean, you'd hear something like that for sure. All right. Well, the luckiest thing you've seen underwater. You got any others that you would like to share, Barry? Or was the one that it was just one? You were only lucky once.
Are you talking to me and calling me Barry? Or are you talking to Barry and addressing him correctly?
No, I was talking to Barry.
No, talking to Barry. That's why I
Barry
said
already
Barry.
shared one. Yeah.
Yeah, any
okay.
diving that I've done is there's always been something magical that has happened.
Oh, that's such a wussy answer.
You like that, right? No, but
no, I didn't
true.
actually. I thought that was a terrible answer. No,
Okay, well,
I mean, I want you to
no
share.
more of a cop out than Jerry's was.
Well, that's true. Jerry never even answered.
Every
really.
dive.
You got a hat for me, sexy?
Hey, baby, what's going down?
Yeah, what is that all? You guys are taking a very disturbing turn when you start.
Oh, I have
channel
another lucky.
Another lucky dive.
Yeah.
That you're willing to share. Which one?
It just came to my head.
Okay, which one?
When I got certified with the 2 Brazilian swimsuit models.
Oh, really?
That was pretty damn lucky.
And why was that lucky?
Because, man, it was fun.
You didn't get lucky, did you? Or
No,
you just felt lucky.
I didn't get lucky, but I was lucky to witness that.
I like mermaids.
Well, they weren't mermaids. They were just models, right?
One of them was a mermaid.
Oh,
wasn't she?
yeah, there you go.
Kelly was a mermaid, wasn't
Right,
she?
yeah, sure, that counts. All right, there you go. That's pretty lucky. More coming up. Stay close.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Prepare to rig for dive.
Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
We are a 4-man saturation dive team.
Get suited up.
We're ready to leave surface.
Because there's too many fish in the sea. You know there's too many fish in the sea. I said there's short ones, tall ones, fine ones, kind ones. Too many fish in the sea.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. CJ's in the studio with me. We got Casey the Tobacco Nut and Barry the Bugger running out the Scuba Radio Scuba Squad. And, being on the heels of St. Patrick's Day, I felt it was just a good time to reflect on the luckiest dives that we've had in our career of diving. And so that's what we're sharing today. And
in actuality, the luckiest dive is every dive.
Okay, that is true.
Thank you. Same thing I said.
Or the next dive is
But
what
I
I like
said
to
it
say.
better.
Yeah,
you
okay,
did.
if you say so. We'll go with that. And it'll be wrong once again. But regardless, there are some other highlight dives I want to share. One in particular, when it comes to like fish in the sea, probably the craziest dive I ever had was in the Galapagos. And what made this dive so cool was not only the people I was diving with were pretty awesome. One of them was Jerry Beatty from Dive Training Magazine. He was my dive buddy in the Galapagos. And we do this dive where we're drifting along the Galapagos Islands. Pretty good current, but we had a team of 4 people, and we're cruising along. They're following us in the inflatable along the surface and watching our bubbles. And so, or punga is what they would call it in the Galapagos. And we're cruising along, and there was a school of manta rays.
Oh, that would be cool.
That, I mean, you can't even imagine how many there were. There were thousands of them in all levels of the water column. So deep, medium, at the surface even, they're floating along. I mean, we're seeing mantas that are like, 10 feet wide minimum.
You could
And
ride them like Aquaman.
You literally could have walked across the surface on top of the mantas. There were so many of them. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. Never seen anything like that in my entire life.
So like hundreds by your guess.
Oh, at least. I mean, literally, it could have been thousands.
And that was one of your luckiest dives.
Well, I mean, just that alone was enough.
Were you
but
like,
what made it
I feel so fortunate.
Well, what made it even more lucky and more, nutty was that at the end of the dive, I was just like, this is just insane. Your sensory overload. And we do our safety stop, and we're hanging out, the four of us, and I'm almost out of air, so I'm like, okay, I signal to Jerry and the rest of the gang, like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and head up, and I'll be the first one back up on the inflatable, and we'll head back, right? So I give the signal, start to ascend, and, break the surface. And how they have it set up, you're supposed to take your gear off at the surface, hand it up to the guy on the boat. And so I'm doing that. And next thing you know, the rest of the crew start popping up. And Jerry pops up and goes, Greg, killer whale. I'm like, what? Get out. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to fall for that because he's pointing behind me. And actually a couple days before, I'd asked the dive master on the liveaboard boat we were on, the Humboldt Explorer, what do you get excited about things you see in the Galapagos? And he goes, a couple of times a year we have killer whales that'll cruise through. And that's the thing that really gets me excited. I'm like, yeah, okay. So when Jerry says this, I'm like, he's just, busting me, right? And so I'm like, yeah, right. I'm not going to fall for it, but I can't help but turn around. And so I turn around, I look, and I see 8 big black fins about 15 feet away from me. I'm like, oh my God. And, so we hurry up, back up on the boat. And then, they're just, they're going nuts. Says, Greg, you won't believe what happened. I'm like, what? He says, when you gave the signal that you were going up, literally this pod of 8 killer whales swam right behind you. And one of them actually rubbed up against one of the guy's fins.
Ooh.
And I was like, what?
I'd be like, don't act like a seal. Don't act like a seal.
Well, I didn't know. And but we were all excited about it. And we got to actually track the killer whale pod for the next 30 minutes through the Galapagos Islands. It was wild. They had caught a sea lion, and they were catching the sea lion in their mouth, or one or two of them was catching the sea lion, and then they wouldn't eat it. They would just catch them in their mouth, like trap them for a few seconds, and then they'd flip them up and let them swim a little while more, and they'd chase them, and then they'd catch them again, and then they'd let them go.
Playing with their food.
Exactly. And we got to watch that.
You're lucky they didn't do that to you, throwing you up in the air.
I'm filming this.
Bad whale parenting is what that is.
I'll tell you, we were in these small little inflatable boats. We had 2 of them that were following the killer whales along. And what was wild about it is the killer whales were bigger than the boats.
Oh, yeah.
And I was filming a video, and they were like, right alongside the boat. And I'm like, this is
How come I've never seen this video? You never show this to me.
The only the video has been out there online before, but the problem with what I got is that at the time I was relatively new filming, and one of the bonehead mistakes I made as a beginning videographer is I didn't wipe off the lens. So I had droplets of, seawater on the front of the video. And so it made things all blurry and kind of, nonsensical.
That could be considered artsy sometimes.
Yeah, maybe. But I still have the footage. But anyway, so I'm shooting this stuff, and literally these whales, you could see them because they were cruising right along with us. And they would like tilt up, and you'd see their eye, and I'd film. I'm like, not even 5 feet away from this killer whale, and I see him looking right at me as I'm filming them, and I'm thinking like, wait a minute.
You need to show me that video later.
Wait a minute. What is this killer whale thinking? Is he thinking like,
am I still hungry?
Yeah, like, this seal that we keep catching and releasing is kind of fun, but. He looks pretty tasty too.
You know what might save you is they probably wouldn't like the taste of or the texture of like your tank.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
metal.
But at this point, I didn't have a tank on. I was on the boat.
Oh,
So I just sit there holding my camera, looking at him, and I'm like trying to get the shot.
Fleshy.
And then I'm
Yeah.
thinking, like, wait, this whale is looking right back at me, which was
Looks just like a toothpick.
magical in itself. But then I'm thinking, like, wait a minute, what's he thinking?
You know what you are? I know what he's thinking. Easy protein.
Yes. He's thinking, like, well, there's not a lot of meat on them
halfway
bones.
through it, he'd spit you out and go, God, I don't like monkey heart.
Well, at the time, I didn't have
Bones.
This was long before then.
Bones.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was a truly crazy experience. But I feel extremely lucky to have experienced that adventure
That's very
because that
cool.
was
Very
truly
cool.
wild. I mean, that was a true Discovery Channel moment. And in all my years of diving, I got to say that is one there's certain episodes that you have underwater when you're a scuba diver that you never forget.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Was
And,
that cold water? It must have been cold water.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was cold. It was definitely cold. But, just like I said, even if it would have stopped with all the manta rays or moblias or whatever the hell kind of rays these were, it would have been a memorable dive just with that. But then at the end, to have the killer whale experience on the tail end of seeing the most mantas I had ever seen in my entire life and still haven't replicated it to this day. I mean,
that'd be a tough one.
It was wild.
You may never see it again.
That's why, when the planets align and you have those moments, I mean, that's what makes scuba diving so special. You never know when it might happen. It could be, you're just cruising on a typical day in Fort Lauderdale or down in the Keys. You're not expecting much, and bam,
great white.
Right, it could happen, or a whale shark, or just some weird behavior that you've seen underwater in Hawaii. I saw an eel and an octopus battle it out, kind of like a scene from Godzilla. I'll talk about that in hour 2 as we reflect on some of the luckiest dives we've had in our diving career here on the world's first radio show devoted to diving. Mine and many more coming up. Stay close.
From Captain Ron to Jock Cousteau, they all love Scuba Radio. On the boat or down below, if you want to stay in the know. If you be pressurized there, you'll want to be there on Scuba Radio. Let's go!
Scuba Radio. Scuba Radio is a production of Overboard Entertainment Incorporated.
Scuba Radio.
This seems the logical place for fish to congregate.
Remember, you can listen live or to archives of past editions of Scuba Radio worldwide over the internet at ScubaRadio.com.
So we're in international waters? Indeed so.
Tell a friend and buddy up with your radio every week for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Well, it's all very nice here, but we should be going. I miss me wife and me oxygen.
Yes, we all miss our loved ones and gases. Let's go.
The opinions you just heard on Scuba Radio are those of the hosts, callers, and guests.
Okay, what I just heard? Blah, 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 blah.
They are not necessarily those of any station or network, its management, or advertisers.
Come on, quit yanking me.
Scuba diving does involve risk and should never be conducted without proper instruction and training.
Oh, what's the worst thing that could happen?
I could die.
Have any questions or comments? Feel free to do so via the web at ScubaRadio.com.
Oh, hello there. Don't be alarmed. We're just preparing your listening device for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving. We do this, of course, by filling your radio with water. Don't worry, we're professionals. Thanks to me, you won't even get wet. You see, I've crammed every appendage of my body into the cracks and crevices of your radio, ensuring an airtight seal. By the way, don't touch your on-off knob. That's a very sensitive area. Anyway, I should remind you, we believe in the buddy system just like diving, so don't listen alone. Call your buddy and tell them that Scuba Radio is about to begin.
We're gonna start a new life under the sea.
So, am I gonna drown?
Of course not. Just stay calm and let the gentle currents relax your every muscle.
Under the sea. Under the sea.
Did it just get warmer?
There'll be no accusations, just friendly crustaceans under the sea.
Where the hell are the sharks?
And now, here's your dive guide for Scuba Radio, Greg the Dive Master.
And welcome to Hour 2 of the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. CJ's in the studio with me. Scuba Radio Scuba Squad is connected via the web. We've been talking about the luckiest dives that we've had, or the luckiest things that we've seen underwater on a dive. You know, on the heels of St. Patrick's Day, we've went around the horn. I've had a couple. CJ's had his. Casey the Tobacco Nut. Barry the Bugger. But guess what?
What's up with Vinny Two Tanks?
Well, there's one way to find out. We can ask him because he's with us now, too. Vinny Two Tanks from the left coast is with us. And I would assume, you know, being he showed up a little late, he's on, you know, he's maybe a little hungover. Too many green beers yesterday, Vinny? What do you want to say?
No, actually, I didn't. I don't go out on those nights because it's just too dangerous.
It's for the amateurs, is what you're saying. You're not a professional.
It's pretty bad, yeah.
So you have no excuse, is what you're saying.
No.
Okay.
Well, actually, I do.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Every day at 11:30, I like to lap swim, so I didn't want to skip it. So I cut it a little short, but I went swimming and I ride my bike to the pool and then I ride back. I want to stay in shape because I'm looking forward to that next dive group dive trip we're going to have.
Okay, all right. So Vinny's trying to stay in shape. That's his excuse.
That's a good excuse.
It is. You know what? I'll give you a pass on that because Vinny has to stay healthy, and we want him healthy. And you know that's the way you do it. You exercise.
We
right?
do have other losers on the squad
that we don't care about.
Nameless.
Lameless.
That are not showing up, and they don't have good excuses.
That's true. No excuses.
Those morons.
Wow, that's a little harsh. I wasn't questioning their intelligence.
But Vinny's
Casey.
good. Vinny's good.
Yeah, Vinny has a good excuse. All right.
Frog strangling.
Wait, what is,
I don't know.
He's
man.
He's blurting out nonsense today.
He's still
Casey.
going through withdrawal from yesterday.
Casey, the tobacco nut, is really emphasizing the nut portion of his name today.
Really is.
Anyway, Vinny, so we've been asking since it was St. Patrick's Day, and you're a lucky guy. You've been diving for many years. Do you have a dive where you go to yourself like, man, I was lucky that day to be underwater and see that? What do you think?
Oh, couple times. Oh, yeah,
couple times. You had a couple.
Oh,
just one. Share one, can you?
Well, the one I told you about this several years ago. I saw a giant black sea bass that was as big as a truck. I heard they were that big, but I fortunately saw one day. Butch and I both saw one day.
Yeah, a black sea.
You wouldn't have believed it. It was
Catalina
huge.
Island over there.
No, it was Santa Barbara Island. But yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
A black sea bass.
A giant black sea bass.
Oh, black sea bass. Okay.
Well, you've seen.
It's a fish.
I don't know if you remember we took you to Catalina and we took you to that marine park and I said, hey, I've heard there's black sea bass here, and you went down in a few minutes and found them, but those are really small. I saw one that size, but it was as big as a truck.
That was a big old black sea bass.
It was huge.
Giant sea bass.
And then there's another time when I was on Explorer Adventures at Turks and Caicos doing a night dive, and I told you about this one before.
And you saw another black sea bass?
Weird. No, I just gotten 1,000 lumen light, and we were going along the reef, and I flashed it. I just took it out and flashed it around me, and saw silhouettes of giant bull sharks following us, hunting off our lights.
Wow!
I mean, huge. I mean, huge girth.
You're like they could eat me.
Yeah, they were big. It goes to show you, there's a lot of. The ocean never ceases to amaze me what we see down there.
Well, that's so true. And
sometimes we don't want to see.
Well, I don't know. You feel lucky to see that particular kind of scenario, but you probably did. You're probably like, hey, this is cool. It's exhilarating to
and
experience
then this
that.
Past year on Explorer Adventures again.
Oh, there's more.
When I was in Indonesia, I finally, for the first time, saw seahorses, in natural settings. They're hard to find. I finally saw some.
They're pretty cool. We have them along some of the seagrass areas here in Florida.
Here's another thing I saw, but this was an above ground. I saw Komodo dragons, which was pretty awesome.
Well, Vinny, thanks for sharing one. I really do appreciate.
He gets
I'm just such a fun guy.
He is. Just one. Well, he's extremely lucky. You know,
it's hard to pick just one.
Well, that is. It's almost impossible just to pick one. But I'm black sea bass is kind of a big deal. I've seen a
giant
black sea ass. And that would have been Barry in his black wetsuit. 2012 is you can't unsee it. I was like, I never dove behind him again.
Was it bubbling?
No, I'm not going to comment any further than that. And I didn't feel very lucky that day. That was more of kind of like it'd been more appropriate for like Friday the 13th if you're reflecting on, unfortunate happenings underwater. You know what I mean? But I want to stay positive.
I know your unluckiest dive.
Oh, you do?
Possibly.
Do you? Oh, really?
Might have been that time you hurled underwater.
Oh, no. Those are memorable moments.
He does that often enough that there's not just one time.
I've only seen it once under.
He hurls above water, too.
I've seen him hurl on the boat, but not under.
Yeah, it's
underwater.
a fish feeding kind of thing.
He's an equal opportunity hurler.
Well, that's why I was thinking, Casey was talking about diving in the bait ball. What I was wondering is like, well, did you, puke underwater, which could create a bait ball around you? That is a unfortunate reality.
I think all the little fishes wanted me to protect them, to spread my arms and hold them close.
So way to spin that, Greg. You should
Casey
run
the
for
Tobacco
office.
Reef.
You're so full of crap.
Thank you, I think. But yeah, it can happen. I mean, if it does happen. If you have the unfortunate experience to puke underwater or have somebody near you do the same thing, it can, create a fish feeding frenzy.
It didn't, though.
I've actually seen it before.
It didn't.
Yeah, I have too.
Camera ready.
Threw up and fish were feeding on the excrement.
Regurgitate.
Yeah.
Get your camera ready.
The
when
green
your buddy
stuff.
takes the regulator out, start clicking.
Okay.
Greg was swimming in a pool of his own sick.
Okay. Yeah,
that sounds like a new book.
That's really not a lucky experience,
No,
but it's a memorable
it's
one.
Unlucky.
Yeah, but
That
when
could
it
be a
comes
chapter in an Eric Douglas book.
possibly,
Sounds like one.
possibly, yeah. But I do feel very lucky just to be able to hear Vinny Two Tank's stories. I mean, because once again, you hear these and you're thinking, okay, I would love to be, in his fins. To
Tales of
experience
Two Tanks.
Greg, do you feel lucky to have us?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Oh, come on, you guys have seen a lot of neat stuff.
Oh,
I'm
come
sure.
on. Yeah, all right,
Yeah.
Barry, tell us something that you've seen that we would probably want to.
God, here we go.
Wait. What was that? I
It's
get
the
all these
support.
homework assignments 30 seconds before they're due.
Uh-huh.
What was the question?
No, do you have any other lucky dives that you want to share, or did you already
Repeat the question.
tell us all of them?
The only when you mentioned the manta rays, it wasn't a dive. I was on a snorkeling trip with my son down in the Keys, and we were doing a reef fish count, and we did see a manta ray, and I did get photos of it. I was dragging them along, trying to take pictures of this thing. It was doing somersaults, and I wanted to ask you, when you saw them, were they doing somersaults?
Well,
circles.
Not when I saw them in the Galapagos, but I've been in Hawaii and did the manta night dive there, and they were doing that, feeding.
And they were doing that.
Loop to loop.
Yeah.
Looping.
I had a dive master down there tell me that particular manta had been swimming through Barry's bubbles. When the loop-de-loop occurred.
Except we weren't diving, we were snorkeling.
Okay, so it didn't count because I asked for the luckiest thing you did on a dive. So thank you for nothing, Barry. No, I kid. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I would want to, snorkeling or diving. That'd be a fun thing to see. All right, more coming up. Stay close to the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Power, simplicity, reliability. It's what you demand of your dive computer, and Shearwater delivers. Shearwater evolved out of one tech diver's need for a reliable, easy-to-use rebreather dive computer and quickly became the tech market leader. Now recreational divers have taken notice. The Shearwater Taric is the best, most intuitive, and reliable wristwatch-sized dive computer on the market. Check it out and the entire line at shearwater.com. Shearwater, dive computers for demanding divers.
Come as a guest, leave as a friend. It's a philosophy that comes from the top down at Explorer Ventures liveaboards. It doesn't matter if you're traveling solo with a buddy or group. Explorer Ventures does the liveaboard dive experience right. For proof, know Explorer Ventures has one of the best repeat customer stats in the dive industry. They're also the official liveaboard company of Scuba Radio. You've likely heard us talk about Explorer Ventures Scuba Radio scuba cruise trips many times, and we invite you to join us on the next one. However, whether we're on board with you or not, I'll bet an Explorer Ventures Adventures liveaboard trip will be one of the best dive experiences you've ever had. It just doesn't get any better. Saba St. Kitts, Turks and Caicos, the Galapagos, Maldives, Indonesia, humpback whales, and the Silver Banks, new destinations and itineraries are being added all the time. Call one of their talented travel consultants to find the Explore Adventures liveaboard experience that's just right for you. 1-800-322-3577. That's 1-800-322-3577. Or visit exploreadventures.com. That's exploreadventures.com.
Scuba action star Mike Scott is back in a new audiobook, Cayman Cowboys, Reefs Under Pressure. From author Eric Douglas comes the one that started it all. Listen as Mike deals with submarines, kidnapping, betrayal, and more.
He didn't even have fins or a mask to let him see in the water. He was going to be slow and blind. If it weren't for the float, he knew there would be no way he would ever make it to the surface.
Download Cayman Cowboys or Oil and Water, Return to Cayman, Turks and Chaos, and Lionfish at Amazon, booksbyeric.com, and audible.com.
Scuba Radio.
Prepare to rig for dive!
Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
I am Sunny from Paradise Tavini. I work here as a waiter and also as spa therapy. You are listening to Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am also the official masseuse for the Scuba Radio Scuba Squad. And by the way, Jerry the diver guy has the juiciest butt cheeks I've come across in years. Oh, Jerry, I will never be the same.
Okay, this is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master.
I would just like to point out for those that don't know, that was a man.
Excuse me?
That voice you just heard was a man.
Okay, all right. So Jerry,
I think,
has a friend in Fiji that thinks he has a juicy butt. So,
just leave it there.
I think he feels very lucky about that, wouldn't he? I mean, if you were complimented on your buttocks and somebody said it was juicy, you would feel lucky about that, I believe, wouldn't you, CJ?
I don't know if that's good or bad.
Barry, would you feel lucky?
No, I'd go to a doctor and make sure everything was okay.
Huh. Okay. Or you'd start working out more because you would rather have a
juicy
firm
butt? No.
No.
Why would it be juicy unless something's wrong?
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to get all scientific about it, but whatever. Teach his own. All right. Look.
Something needs to be lanced.
Okay.
I'm no doctor, but.
All right.
Okay, well, I came in the middle of the conversation, but I'll throw out that I think it should be burned off.
That works too.
Okay. I think you're supposed to freeze them off, actually.
Okay.
If they're juicy and they're like, well, okay, moving on.
Ask Dr. Doug next time he's
here. So, we've been talking about the luckiest things we've seen underwater on dives, on the heels of St. Patrick's Day. And, there has been some celebrations around the world this week. I don't know that it happened to have anything to do with St. Patrick's Day, but in Switzerland, somebody broke a record for the deepest free dive under a frozen lake.
That probably wouldn't be too hard to break.
You think? Well, how deep?
I don't think there's a lot of people diving under frozen lakes.
I honestly will tell you.
Is it a record for the frozen lake or just free diving, period?
No, it's for the frozen lake.
Okay.
So it's a thing. I mean, I'm going to Switzerland here in a couple months.
Man, you could put that at the top of the list of things I would not do.
Yeah. How deep?
No. I think for world reclamation, for the shock of the show, for the goodness of the people that listen and look at us, Greg,
you're going to do this. Casey's going to dive under a frozen lake and try to break the record.
That's selfless.
Greg, the dive master's going to lead the way.
I don't know what he's talking about. How deep do you think this guy went to break the record for the deepest free dive under a frozen lake?
10 feet.
That would be incorrect. Vinny, you want to take a stab at it? What do you think?
I figured at least a couple hundred feet.
See, Vinny's closer.
Meters. It's probably meters.
Well, it's 52 meters, which would be about 150 plus feet.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
That's a lot. And check this out. The dude's wearing a Speedo.
Oh,
and that's
my God.
it.
Now he's just showing
And
off.
goggles.
But I'm wondering if the cold water slows down your metabolism. That allowed him to do that.
I'm sure it does. I'm sure it
He
slows
was
down
cryogenically
everything.
preserved, is
But
my
what's
guess.
that shock of
Everything
that
shrunk up.
But that shock of the cold water, doesn't that cause you to gasp, like breathe?
Well, evidently it didn't. He survived it and broke a record. But I just didn't even realize that was a thing.
See, if I jumped in that cold water, there'd just be a string of horrible curse words coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, you see these stories all throughout the winter months, even here in the States. Got the people up north that are diving under the ice, or they're playing underwater hockey, or they're just putting on a dry suit and
The Polar Bear Club.
Yeah. But this is crazy. I just didn't know it was a thing.
Well, you grew up in cold weather. Did you do any of that frozen stuff when you were a kid?
We stayed absolutely out of the water.
Oh, okay.
Would never try to get wet during the winter months.
When I was working in Alaska, you would drive, the train would go by the big lakes that would still be half frozen. But in the thawed out half, the kids would already have like a raft out in the middle and be swimming in it.
Okay.
And I thought they were all crazy and should be,
nuts. You thought they were nuts, didn't you, Casey, the tobacco nut?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's a thing in Switzerland for sure, but I assume this is a free diving category that I just wasn't aware of. But they had to literally chop a hole in a frozen lake, an ice hole. And
I don't think they chopped it. They used an ice auger, probably.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, of course. But
so they
anyway.
augured out this hole that this guy went deep
Dives
down
into it. Yep. 150 feet plus. Yeah.
I'm sure
came
he had
back.
a guiding line. He had a line.
Yeah, he had a line.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Probably all Vaselined up against the cold.
Comes in. Oh, crap, where's the hole?
Yeah. You come back up, and what happened to the hole?
Right. Maybe you just get the record if you find the hole. If you survive, you win.
Yeah, what happens if you dive down there and you're going down, and meanwhile the guys on top of the ice are going, damn, it's cold out here. Let's go inside.
Find the hole.
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 Okay, there's something there. I don't know what it is.
Okay, you can stop now.
We're having a stroke. Sorry. Anyway, they do that thing. I just don't think it's something that I would feel very lucky about, but I'm sure the guy's proud.
Hell no.
I mean, if you were able to accomplish such a feat, you get bragging rights, right? Or would you...
That would be something you would hope somebody would find impressive. You just tell somebody and they're like
oh yeah, I got a world record. What is it?
Almost froze to death.
Deepest dive.
Aren't you impressed? No.
Deepest free dive under a frozen lake. Huh?
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Dumbest idea ever.
He's like, you're an idiot. Yeah, I don't know. That would be. There's another record I guess they just did too, where a guy was swimming under the lake, just under the surface, under the ice, from like one hole to the other, or one, open area to another open area under the ice. And he got a distance record or something. There was something like that going on too. But all these crazy cold water divers, I'll tell you, I do find it intriguing. It's fun to watch the video, but I would never want to be there.
So you do
That's
have
always
limitations.
the horror scene in the movie where the guy's pounding under the ice, looking up at you plaintively as the river's washing him downstream,
Okay. Well, you're that could be a plot for a horror movie or something, I guess. Or, an interesting way to off someone.
I think that's a Metallica song, Trapped Under Ice.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. Well,
If
it'd make
not,
a good metal
CJ
tune.
could probably write one.
Yeah. We could do that. We could get AI to write us up one of those songs. Just put in the prompt.
No. A honeymoon with AI.
Here we go. It's coming. All right. More next.
I can't wait till it kills
The
you.
robot kills you.
All right. When you're under the ice and it fills up the hole that they dug to let you in there.
Scuba Radio.
Scuba. Come as a guest, leave as a friend. It's a philosophy that comes from the top down at Explorer Ventures liveaboards. It doesn't matter if you're traveling solo, with a buddy, or group. Explorer Ventures does the liveaboard dive experience right. For proof, know Explorer Ventures has one of the best repeat customer stats in the dive industry. They're also the official liveaboard company of Scuba Radio. You've likely heard us talk about Explorer Ventures Scuba Radio scuba cruise trips many times, and we invite you to join us on the next one. However, whether we're on board with you or not, I'll bet an Explorer Ventures liveaboard trip will be one of the best dive experiences you've ever had. It just doesn't get any better. Saba St. Kitts, Turks and Caicos, the Galapagos, Maldives, Indonesia, humpback whales, and the Silver Banks, new destinations and itineraries are being added all the time. Call one of their talented travel consultants to find the Explorer Ventures liveaboard experience that's just right for you. 1-800-322-3577. That's 1-800-322-3577. Or visit explorerventures.com. That's explorerventures.com.
Prepare to rig for dive! Your surface interval is complete. You're now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
Hi, I'm Manny. I'm your dive master lead in Aquacat, and you hear Scuba Radio.
Yeah, wait, you're the lead dive master on the Aquacat? What are you?
Yes, sir, I'm the lead dive master.
Okay, do it again, one more time.
You kidding?
No.
Okay, guys, I'm Manny. I'm your dive master lead in Aquacat, and you hear Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
The what? Okay. Hi guys, I'm Manny. I'm a dive instructor in Aquacat, and you're listening to Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to
The world's first radio show devoted to dive. You kidding or what? You did the translation.
Drew?
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
I can do it slow.
Okay, do it slow. Yeah, do slow.
The world's first
radio
show devoted to diving. Devoted. You know what, guys?
to diving.
For the Spanish speakers, la mejor radio estación de radio devota de lo que es el buceo.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. I am Greg the Dive Master. CJ in the studio with me. Scuba Radio, Scuba Squad connected via the web. Barry the Bugger. We got Casey the Tobacco Nut, Vinny Two Tanks. And now the Aqua Gypsy is with us too. Brittany.
Hey.
Long time no here. So, it's the day after St. Patrick's Day. Luckiest dives that we've had. We've been asking everybody that. Brittany's a little late because, well, she was celebrating St. Patrick's Day yesterday. Might have had one too many green beers. Is that the case, Brittany, or do you care to share?
I was drinking green rum.
Green rum. Okay.
Even better.
Liquor is quicker. And she's efficient when it comes to that kind of stuff. So God bless her. She made it, and she's with us. And do you have a dive you want to share before we move on to other stuff, Brittany, or just catch up with the rest of the class? What do you think? Luckiest dive.
Luckiest dive. Ooh, I don't know how lucky this could be.
That you've seen underwater.
Oh boy, every time I go diving. But how about this? Remember that time when you and I were together on the Turks and Caicos, and this jack killed a squirrel fish, and right when that happened, wham! This 8-foot Caribbean reef shark came up and just hammered this jack and just completely ate the jack that just ate the squirrel fish, and I freaked out and I screamed really loudly, and I was backpedaling. This is also a night dive, and we were in like 50 feet of water.
Right.
And that is probably the coolest, luckiest thing I've ever seen.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
That's
at all.
awesome.
I don't remember that.
Yes, you. Well,
I may have
you
blocked it
didn't
out.
wanna go.
I may have blocked it out because I was creeped out by that. That's very possible because I've had a few of those type of experiences on night dives. The most memorable
How could
one
you
for me.
forget that?
I just, I've seen it many times. They'll use your dive lights, and the sharks or the jacks will come in and attack some innocent fish. It kind of, gets into your
Well, we
light
don't know
beam.
if the fish is innocent.
But how many times have you seen it with her screaming?
Well, I vaguely remember that.
Greg,
Yeah.
so Greg
That-
wasn't there because he was drinking.
See, that explains
why you
it.
don't remember
That's
it.
why
Right.
you remember it.
But
Of course.
You didn't see it.
he filmed once I got back up on board, I told him the whole story, and it was on the radio show a while ago. 4 or 5 years
Okay,
ago.
that explains it.
Dude,
See, I
you
would
missed
remember
it.
that. Yeah, well, she shared the story.
But at least you were honest about it, and you weren't like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Well, no, it does remind me of Charlie. Charlie the tarpon. This is one of the first memorable dives that I had in my career of diving. It was in Bonaire, of all places. And we go on a night dive, and they tell us about the resident tarpon, Charlie. Will probably follow you along on the night dive. And don't be intimidated. Yeah, he's 4 or 5 feet long. He's a big old fish. And it looks a little spooky, but he's very friendly. He'll just come up and swim with you, and just don't let him bother you. So I'm like, fine, cool. And sure enough, not even 5 minutes into the dive, we're cruising along, and here comes this big old fish. I looked to my left, I'm like, holy crap, that's a big fish. And it was a little intimidating at first, but I was like, okay, he's just kind of following us along like a dog. Kind of cool. Big silvery tarpon, right?
You looking for food or what?
Well, I didn't know at the time. And, so we're cruising along. I'm thinking, this is actually pretty cool, and we're swimming along. And all of a sudden, a little tropical fish, all of like 5-6 feet long, or 5-6 feet or inches. I mean, just a
Inches.
small little fish swims up into my light beam. And Charlie darts up in front of me and chomps down on this fish. And the head just drifts down to the sand. And I'm like, yeah, I might have relieved myself a little in my wetsuit at that point, and didn't quite look at Charlie the same after that. So, those type of experiences you can have on a night dive. And they usually tell you,
I need to
like,
go on more night dives.
they'll tell you, when you, especially if you're on a
Brittany's
liveaboard boat.
bloodthirsty.
What do you mean? Well, it is cool.
Yeah, but as soon as you said that, more night, she goes, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at the time I was a very, inexperienced diver, so I was not used to seeing that type of, experience. But looking back on it, it's one of those dives I'll never forget. And I feel for the little tropical that Charlie took out, but Charlie is.
You assisted in his death.
I did, or I assisted in the longevity of Charlie's life. He might still
You have
be down
blood
there.
on your hands.
Well, that's okay.
You have blood on your hands.
That's fine. I'm good with that. I like.
He's good.
I like Charlie. Charlie, me are buds. Because I'd
Your
rather.
buddies with that assassin.
When you see Charlie dart out in front of you and chomp down on a fish, and the head drifts down to the sand, you kind of can't help but think, like, gosh, at least he's biting this fish and not me.
Exactly.
Because I mean, it was so fast, and it could have easily been, some erroneous appendage that you didn't have tidied up just quite right or something.
No, he wanted something big.
Ooh, Barry scores.
How do you know this, Barry?
Yeah. He's been watching. He's been watching us. Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, Greg did say that Charlie ate a 5-inch fish. So.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Brittany.
Oh boy. All right. So, yeah, it is a thing to see. And those are kind of cool experiences depending on, your, how you feel about that kind of thing. It might gross some people out, spook them a tad, or be a memorable experience, or a little bit of both. And that's kind of lucky. I'd say that's pretty lucky.
A night dive, you're showing up at dinner time, right?
What do you mean?
Right.
That's when they
That's
eat.
true.
Most predators hunt at night, don't they?
Well, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say that's, yeah, sure.
Just
Why
think,
not?
you could be stepping off the back of that boat, and there's a huge megalodon shark with its mouth open going,
Oh, come on, Casey. We're here to promote diving. Don't
Crazy.
perpetuate nasty rumors.
One show. Lay off the mushrooms.
Yeah, just one. That's all we ask.
Maybe next week.
Uh-huh. But yeah,
All right.
the Aqua Gypsy, I mean, that was a lucky dive.
Mhm.
She actually just did some stuff with a bunch of dolphins, didn't you? You went out with some group that does what do they do exactly with these dolphins?
Well, it's the Wild Dolphin Project, and they go out and around the Bahamas, typically like Grand Bahama or Bimini, and they spot and kind of tag the wild dolphins.
Really? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And so I went to a fundraiser. There was a gala that was going on in West Palm Beach.
Gala.
Yes. And there was a speaker there. It was very interesting. They talked about animal behavior. And they had a really cool story about it.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about that with the Aqua Gypsy. That sounds kind of lucky. I mean, that kind of might tie into this whole St. Patrick's Day aftermath thing, and that's next on the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
This is the Worldwide Scuba Radio Network.
Prepare to rig for dive!
Your surface interval is complete. You are now clear to dive with Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio.
The world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Scuba Radio.
Dive, dive, dive.
Hey, man. Hey, what are you doing today? I don't know. I was kind of bored. You want to do something cool? Well, like what? We could go scuba dive. Oh, yeah, that sounds great. I've never done it before. Well, there's only a few things that you got to do to be good at it, and it's really easy to learn. Here, I'll show you. Come with me.
Okay, everyone, let's get our gear on. Let's go for our dive. Tanks are right here.
Now, to be a scuba diver, it can be so much fun. Making memories and sharing good times in the sun. Descend with the quickness, equalize so you don't pop. To avoid decompression sickness, always make a safety stop. You know, gonna be a scuba diver. Gonna be an underwater survivor. Gonna be a scuba diver.
This is the world's first radio show devoted to diving. CJ's in the studio with me.
I'm a big fan of Cock Johnson. CJ, you are one funny guy.
Oh, okay. How
Thank
about
you.
that?
Thank
So
you.
also have the Scuba Radio Scuba Squad, Barry the Bugger, Casey the Tobacco Nut, Vinny Two Tanks, the Aqua Gypsy Brittany, and now Mermaid Rachel with us in between training for American Ninja Warrior, which literally I think the taping we hear could happen this next week, and we'll cover it accordingly. You know, what we can say, what we can't. And what do you think? I hear you achieved a milestone in your training this week for that. Is that right, Rachel?
Yep.
What do you think?
I finally made the warped wall. So there's like a 14-foot wall that you have to run up. And I did it on my very last day of training in the gym, which I'm pretty stoked about. It's all about technique and speed. So it's been fun, like getting to do that. And it was like this huge celebration. So it was really cool.
Yeah, cool. In that, what do they call that? The what wall?
It's called the warp.
The what?
The warp wall. It's like a half pipe. And so it's like 14 and a half feet tall. And you have to like run up it and then grab the ledge at the very end and then pull yourself up and hit the buzzer.
Right,
And,
at the end of the course for American Ninja Warrior. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
Barry
sure that's
actually
not
got
easy
over
to
a
do.
speed bump in his neighborhood this week.
Yeah,
How about
I'm
that?
working on it, man. I'll
Hey,
get there.
baby steps.
Only
That's
took him
right.
3 tries.
Exactly.
Hey, I didn't give up.
That's true. That's
Remember
all that
last night I fell down in the ditch, so
What? Okay. All right. Well, that's Casey.
If you
for
didn't break anything, then that's positive.
Right.
no, it's all good.
Well,
Were you drinking whiskey?
yeah, he was drinking something.
Maybe there were rumors to that effect.
There was concoctions. There was we heard mushrooms earlier. I don't know if there's any rumor or truth to that, but
His eyes are redder than my hat today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's
We're not exposing the eyes.
on the heels of St. Patrick's Day, it's possible. And I know that Rachel has been she's been focused on training, so she hasn't partaken in any of that kind of stuff. However, I know she's one lucky person, especially when it comes to her free diving activities.
Because
and-
she knows all of us, Greg?
well,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wouldn't you guys pay her off during the commercial break to say that? What? I can't believe that. All right. So, but we've been asking, Rachel, is there any particular dive that you've been on where you felt very lucky that you experienced this? Maybe on a free dive or a dive? I know I'm putting her on the spot, but I figured, hey, if anybody can handle it, it would be Mermaid Rachel.
Oh, I like mermaids.
Yeah, well, we all do. Yeah.
I think there were two. There were two that I can really think of. So when I was training to become a freediving instructor in the Philippines, my very last day, I was fun diving over in Palawan, and I wanted to go dive with a whale shark. And we were told to stay away from some of the areas where they feed them just because it alters the whale shark habitats.
Okay.
But I actually got to see one in the wild on my very last day. And so somebody was going in there looking for fish, and all of a sudden you hear somebody yelling in their snorkel, and you look over, you're like, oh yeah, there's fish. And then you're like, oh, that's a whale shark. So cool.
That's a big ass fish right there.
Yeah. So there was that one. And then there was also, I got to do a gig in Atlantis Resort in the Bahamas recently. And then we got to go with the Stewart's Cove Dive Shop and got to hang out with some Caribbean reef sharks. So that was super fun.
Yeah, that sounds pretty lucky to be able to do that kind of cool stuff. She's always doing insane things, whether it's, twirling fire, on her surface interval, or, auditioning for American Ninja Warrior. That's going to be quite a thing. How are you feeling about that effort, by the way? Are you anxious? Is it really sunk in yet that you're actually going to go for this thing, or what can you tell us in that regard?
Yeah, well, I'm anxious, I'm nervous, and I'm excited because it's a whole new community of ninjas. And so I'm learning all about how there's a scuba diving community and the free diving community, and now there's a ninja community that I'm a part of. And then as far as my training, I feel as though I found out 6 weeks ago that I was going to be on the show. So it was really exciting to be able to see my progress in the 6 weeks that I've just been living, breathing, eating, doing all the ninja stuff.
Right.
And so I'm feeling pretty strong though. I'm happy to see how.
Well, we're going to have to change Mermaid Rachel's name on Scuba Radio to Mermaid Bodyguard because she's
Ninja Rachel.
Yes, Ninja Rachel. That could happen. But I would imagine, one of the luckiest things that you can do, and I think all of us would would support this effort, would be diving with wild dolphins. And which is what Brittany has done over in the Bahamas. But that event that you just went to, Brittany, so that was, did you do any diving with them or just talk to the people that run the Dolphin Project, by the way?
Yeah, I was just talking to the people that ran the project, although I have gone out with Neil Watson's crew, and we did find spotted dolphins, and I did swim with them. And, we did. The dolphin actually went down and it got a sand dollar and it brought it back up.
It gave you money. It was trying to pay you off.
Brittany has a boyfriend.
Whoa, excuse me. What do you say?
When you go to those clubs, you put a coin in the slot.
Wait, hey now. Just stop it. Yeah, but I saw actually Rachel just lit up when we started talking about the dolphins. That's on your list, I'm guessing. Is that right, Rachel? Have you ever done anything with them?
Yeah, I've had a few sailing experiences. So years ago, I sailed with on a 32-foot person from San Francisco to Panama.
Yeah.
And one time, off of the Channel Islands, the bioluminescence was absolutely glowing, and all of a sudden you're in the middle of the night and you see these glowing streaks going through the water, and the bioluminescence was so bright that you'd look down and there were the glowing ghosts of dolphins, and they were rise on the bow of the boat.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah.
They get to kind of stuff, and you're like, oh, it's so
maybe
cool.
they were ghost dolphins.
Okay.
Maybe you're just high.
Yeah.
I was on night watch.
Mushrooms.
Okay.
All right. But regardless, dolphins on everybody's list. CJ and I and Vinny Two Tanks, we were on a boat and we got trapped in a massive school of dolphins between the California coast and Catalina. And it's just magical when you have those
hundreds of dolphins.
It was insane.
So many dolphins.
And it was, when that type of thing happens, I mean, it's right place, right time. and you can't plan for it. It just sometimes the magic happens, and that's when you just feel so fortunate and
You remember I was
extremely
joking
lucky.
about it? I go, I've been in herds of used dolphins. I can't say it's going to happen on this trip, but it might. And sure enough, it did. Remember?
That's right. Vinny Two Tanks predicted the future. So he
Well,
could
no,
be
I
a
just said
soothsayer.
I've been in them, but I don't know if we're going to get lucky. And sure enough, we
got
did.
lucky. We got
Yeah.
lucky. And there you go.
That was so cool.
None of them gave us a silver dollar, but, as 3 or 4 middle-aged men, they probably didn't want any
Yeah,
lap
but when you
dance
see
or
a couple,
anything like
you
that
see hundreds
anyway.
of dolphins hanging out with you. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It is. See, even Vinny Two Tanks, it's a thing. So, we're pretty lucky. I think just if you're a diver, you're lucky because you never know what could pop up like that. And make a very special moment in your life. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up till next time. Remember, it's always better where, gang? Come on.
Down where it's wetter.
Where it's wetter.
Safe diving, everyone.
Jock Good Stove, they all love Scuba Radio. On the boat or down below, if you want to stay in the know. If you be pressurized there, you'll want to be there on Scuba Radio.
Scuba Radio is a production of Overboard Entertainment Incorporated.
Scuba Radio. This seems the logical place for fish to congregate.
Remember, you can listen live or to archives of past editions of Scuba Radio worldwide over the internet at ScubaRadio.com.
So we're in international waters? Indeed so.
Tell a friend and buddy up with your radio every week for Scuba Radio, the world's first radio show devoted to diving.
Well, it's all very nice here, but we should be going. I miss me wife and me oxygen.
Yes, we all miss our loved ones and gases. Let's go.
The opinions you just heard on Scuba Radio are those of the hosts, callers, and guests.
Okay, what I just heard? Blah, 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 blah.
They are not necessarily those of any station or network, its management, or advertisers.
Come on, quit yanking me.
Scuba diving does involve risk and should never be conducted without proper instruction and training.
Oh, what's the worst thing that could happen?
I could die.
Have any questions or comments? Feel free to do so via the web at ScubaRadio.com.